Let's just drop the bombshell. And it's got Hollywood scrambling. Week 3 of the Diddy trial exploded into total chaos. After Kid Cudi's jaw-dropping testimony, federal investigators started revealing names, and not just any names, elite, global-level celebs who weren't just at Diddy's infamous parties, they were allegedly helping him cover up some of the most disturbing crimes imaginable. Y'all, buckle up, we're talking about Ben Affleck, T.D. Jakes, Usher, Robert Downey Jr., yes, Iron Man himself is on the list, and it doesn't stop there.
Ben Affleck actually recently walked away from J-Lo because these allegations were coming out.
And isn't there even some concern that, or proof that Pastor T.D. Jakes?
Well, I'm getting right there. So there's this big list that Diddy said, I'm not going down alone. Because Cat Williams went on a podcast a while back, and Cat Williams, who's a well-known comedian in the black community for a long time, he went on a podcast and basically just regurgitated all this information that was just so valid. And he said, all these people, he said, you got God on one side, and then you got the other side. And he said, the other side, they're all going down in 2024. And he mentioned that he was offered $50 million 4 separate times to join in with these Diddy parties to basically be sodomized. And he turned it down every time.
To help his career.
To help his career, to bring his career to the next level.
You're on a raft.
Yes.
In the middle of the ocean.
Right.
You look in the water.
That would give me so much anxiety. Go ahead.
Oh, this is about to give you more
Okay.
anxiety. You look in the ocean, you see 2 people floating.
Oh,
You can only pull up one because that's how much room you have on your raft. You look in the ocean, you see Ben Affleck, and you see Diddy. That's it! J to the L, give me 5.
The feds aren't just naming names, they're exposing alliances. The real list of celebrities connected to Diddy looks like the guest list of an Illuminati gala, US presidents, the British royal family, music execs, billionaire CEOs, the most untouchable men on earth. And for anyone thinking, well, maybe it's a coincidence, let's not forget the same names were tied to Jeffrey Epstein. Every single time a predator falls, it's the same elite circle being whispered about behind closed doors.
Like President Clinton, President Obama, President Trump. I think these are 3 American presidents who really, really, really wish they had no connection to Diddy. But they all do. They all know him, appeared with him, partied with him. Clinton, Obama, Trump, and they're not the only famous people who partied and hung out with Diddy. Apparently there's like at least, 100 plus who are going to be named in his trial. Famous, shiny stars. We named some of them last night. We got a new one tonight, Iron Man. But we don't yet know what the connection is. Like, how are all these famous faces and names going to be connected to P. Diddy in his sex trafficking trial? It's the kind of thing they're all freaking out about, right? And there are many unnamed yet. We're just finding out about them in jury selection. But I'll tell you what, the internet is freaking out and making its connections. Which shiny star had what connection to Diddy, and how could that end up in the case?
Yeah, there you go. Y'all. Thank you. And I just want to say how much I appreciate Puff Daddy for doing the kinds of work that he's doing, because he doesn't have to do this. But this is part of what is important about giving back.
Yes, we applaud you, and I want to apologize for not sweating, but I do this so much. I'm so cool. I just want y'all to see everybody I'm interviewing is sweating. I'm not even touching my brow. I'm so cool, and I want to apologize. I ain't trying to make you look bad or nothing like that, but I'm just so cool. We
a t-shirt. I tell you, if he was wearing one of those fancy designer clothes he's designing.
The candidates are being asked about their own connections to or impressions of an array of celebrities, and with no explanation why, at least not yet. The parlor games have begun, my friends. Everybody is trying to connect the dots between the shiny, famous names and the beleaguered rap star Diddy and the charges. Just today, the name Robert Downey Jr. came up in court. Robert Downey, the actor, and Diddy apparently do know each other and have been seen together in public. But Robert Downey Jr. reportedly never attended Diddy's parties. So if he does figure into this trial somehow, it's going to be a lot of news to a lot of us. Mike Myers, another favorite Canadian, favorite actor, favorite comedian. He is on the jury question list as well. And that too is a tongue-wagging mystery. Unless it's about the quick jab at Diddy that he took in the Austin Powers movie? I don't know. Doesn't seem likely. Rolling Stone magazine reports that actor Michael B. Jordan made the list because Diddy once threatened him for dating Diddy's ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. Same goes for the rapper Kid Cudi. USA Today says that Cassie's lawsuit claimed that Diddy threatened to blow up Kid Cudi's car.
Now here's where it gets even more twisted. One of the first big names to jump ship was Bishop T.D. Jakes. Yup, the same T.D. Jakes who built a fortune off of sermons and salvation. Right after whispers came out that Diddy got a plea deal to start naming names, T.D. Jakes ran for cover. He stepped down from the Potter's House megachurch and started throwing up excuses faster than a PR rep at a scandal convention. Oh, I didn't know what was happening at those parties, but folks ain't buying it.
That's why people get on my nerves talking about who you should be seen with. I do homeless shelters. I walk in prison ministries. I deal with murders. I deal with and because they're our children, our sons, and our daughters.
As a shock to many in the religious community, Bishop T.D. Jakes has been a spiritual advisor to presidents and a religious voice to thousands. Now he says it's time to pass the baton to a new generation.
This is a beautiful moment for me.
From the pulpit Sunday, Bishop T.D. Jakes announced that he was stepping down from leadership at the Potter's House.
Cat Williams warned us over a year ago. He said T.D. Jakes was going down with Diddy. And now, baby, the receipts are unrolling like a CVS coupon. T.D. Jakes was first dragged into this mess through Lil Rod's lawsuit. You know, the one that claimed Diddy used T.D. Jakes to clean up his public image with a little holy man cover. But behind the scenes, T.D. Jakes was allegedly using his pulpit power to connect Diddy to more victims. Let that sink in. A man of God allegedly using his church to funnel people into Diddy's orbit.
Watch as Cat Williams calls out Bishop T.D. Jakes, and watch as T.D. Jakes and Gino Jennings responds.
I came in this business saying I was going to expose. When I talked about Michael Jackson, when I talked about R. Kelly, they canceled me for these things because why would you talk about another black dude? Race is not where the line is drawn. It's God's side and the other side. And we don't care nothing about the other side. Period. All of these big deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is, T.D. Jakes, any of them. All lies will be exposed. That's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way, know why they take it the wrong way.
Good. I'm good. I'm fine. I'm good because I know the truth.
T.D. Jakes, do not speak against homosexuality?
World-renowned Dallas pastor T.D. Jakes is named in a federal lawsuit against musician Sean Diddy Combs.
It's filed by a producer that worked with Combs. It discusses how the singer planned to leverage his relationship with the bishop to soften the impact on his public image of Cassie Ventura's lawsuit. Ventura is a former girlfriend of Combs who filed her own lawsuit in November alleging abuse, violence, and sex trafficking.
Could this federal investigation have come out of these private lawsuits?
Oh, absolutely. If it involves sex trafficking or drugs or weapons or other illegal behavior.
Lori Levinson is a former federal prosecutor.
They've decided this is worth a lot of resources across the country. So once they've done these searches, they have evidence to follow up on. And if they've got it, they'll move on it.
Now let's talk about Usher. Diddy's protege, the golden boy, the R&B heartthrob. According to Cassie's heartbreaking courtroom testimony, Usher wasn't just a bystander. He saw things, terrible things. He allegedly saw Diddy assault Cassie multiple times. Did he speak up? Nope. He stayed silent and helped Diddy cover his tracks. Dawn Richard, formerly of Danity Kane, backed it all up. She testified that in 2010, at a restaurant in West Hollywood, she saw Diddy punch Cassie right in the stomach. It was a private conversation, and boom, violence right there in public. Cassie keeled over in pain and stormed out. And Usher, he said nothing.
Dawn Richard says she wasn't alone in witnessing Sean Diddy Combs' abuse. During her second day of testimony in the music mogul's federal trial, the 41-year-old described an alleged 2010 incident of Combs punching then-girlfriend Cassie Ventura at a West Hollywood, California restaurant and said Usher was also a witness to the event. During her testimony May 19th per NBC News, which had a reporter in the courtroom, she said, quote, Mr. Combs punched Cassie in the stomach. They were having a private conversation and then he punched her in the stomach. She immediately leaned over and left. In addition to Usher, Richard, who was a member of the girl group Danity Kane, which was formed on Combs' show Making the Band in 2004, alleged that other musicians, including singer Neo, record exec Jimmy Iovine, and rapper Big Daddy Kane were present as well. When Richard and Ventura got into a car to leave after the alleged restaurant incident, Richard said another physical altercation took place between Combs, who has pleaded not guilty to all charges, and his then-girlfriend. She continues in her testimony, quote, We got in the car to head back to her house. Combs grabbed her, slapped her, popped her in the mouth, and told her to shut the f*** up. Everyone was quiet.
Now, if Usher stayed silent, Justin Bieber nearly exploded. Justin didn't just witness trauma, he lived it. The court revealed that Diddy took custody of Justin when he was just 13 years old. And what happened during that time? Allegedly horrifying abuse. Not rumors, not tabloid whispers, alleged criminal acts. Hollywood's biggest stars, some of the same ones partying with Diddy, were around Justin during this time. There's video evidence, insiders claim. And then, just days into the trial, Justin broke his silence. He dropped a chilling message online. He said he knew there was darkness behind the scenes.
Justin Bieber breaking his silence on the ordeal after months of speculation over their one-time relationship. His rep telling ET, although Justin is not among Sean Combs' victims, there are individuals who were genuinely harmed by him. Shifting focus away from this reality detracts from the justice these victims rightfully deserve. Bieber's questionable connection to Diddy piquing interest online as the rap mogul's indictment for sex trafficking and racketeering charges, which he denies, made headlines. Old clips of the two hanging out while Justin was underage resurfacing.
Let's just go get some girls. Let's go get some girls.
Man after my heart, that's what I'm talking about. We hit him like this, so me and you walking, we hanging out, a little later on the night after the Usher concert.
There's also this old Jimmy Kimmel Live segment, adding to fan fears about what might have gone down with Diddy.
Got me a Lamborghini.
Oh, well, that's nice.
I haven't gotten it yet, though.
When is that coming, that Lamborghini? We talked about this last
He
time.
had the Lamborghini for a day or two, and he had access to the house, and he knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television.
Oh, apparently not.
Some things, everything ain't for everybody.
This all comes as Bieber's followers are worried for him. The singer's erratic social media posts causing concern week after week. The Beliebers asking if what he's seen behind the scenes of the industry.
But while Justin is speaking his truth, guess who's still standing behind Diddy? Kanye West and Jay-Z. They've been radio silent. No condemnation, no distancing themselves, just quiet support. And now the silence is becoming deafening. Michael B. Jordan, Kanye West, Mike Myers all got name-dropped at the trial during jury selection. NBC News confirmed it. A list of 100-plus celebrities, musicians, and locations that might come up during the proceedings. Jurors were asked if they recognized the names. Now, just being listed doesn't mean guilt. Let's be clear. But the sheer volume, the fact that some of these names keep popping up, it's no longer looking random. Even women who've filed lawsuits, Cassie Ventura, Danity Kane, Dawn Richard, were named on that list. And what about the timing? Right after Diddy's billion-dollar contract with Diageo went up in flames, his entire empire began imploding. So we gotta ask, was Diddy protected before, and did he get punished for turning on his protectors?
Diddy sues Diageo. Diddy filed a lawsuit accusing Diageo of neglecting the De Leon brand, racial discrimination, claiming they marketed it as an urban product and failed to treat him as a true business partner. Then in January 2024, they settled. out of court. Diageo and Diego settled the dispute out of court. While details still remain sealed, the settlement marked the end of their business relationship. So this is from 2007 till 2024, 17 years. Could they have protected him? I don't know. Their CEO currently today is Deborah Ann Crew. She was a former intelligence officer in the military. Once intelligence officer, forever you're an intelligence officer. Who knows what happened? We don't know the relationship. We're not going to make any accusations. All we know is, could this have been a protection where they were at the parties and they knew things that were taking place and are like, wait, what do you want to do to us? No problem. Boom, drop the bomb. I don't know. All I'm saying is the timing is kind of strange. Maybe even they wanted to kind of be like, look, we know what's about to be dropped on this guy. We want to have nothing to do with you. We're out. Here's some money. You stay quiet. We'll pay you, but we want to get out of here. The only thing that the timing is kind of crazy is January 2024, they settle. 2 months later, remember what we're sitting there doing and minding our own business? And you hear, March of 2024, the feds are raiding Diddy's Miami home and his LA home. For what?
There's something way bigger happening behind the scenes. Power players who used to shield Diddy, they're now letting him burn. And everyone who once stood behind him, either running or being taken down with him. Because guess what? The same people Diddy allegedly used to eliminate his enemies might now be turning on him.
Well, Pierce, let me ask you a question. From your journalistic perspective, have you ever noticed how in this industry, people untimely meet their demise as soon as somebody else seems like they're having a problem? Have you ever seen that before?
Well, there was, of course, the case of one of his other ex-girlfriends, Kim Porter, who died of pneumonia at a very young age. You just referenced your own situation with pneumonia that you believe was deliberate poisoning. Do you believe that may be what happened to her?
Why are so many people coming down with pneumonia? Why is that happening to everybody? What is that about? Where have you ever seen this many cases of pneumonia associated with one situation? So, you know.
There were rumors.
I'm not saying.
Well, I was going to mention on this that there have been rumors circulating online that Diddy may have poisoned Jamie Foxx, which caused his 2023 hospitalization. In his Netflix show, he compared Combs to the devil in revealing his near-death experience after a brain bleed and stroke. He said, I say this all the time, I saw the tunnel, I didn't see the light. It was hot in that tunnel. I thought, have I gone to the wrong place? I looked at the end of a tunnel and I thought I saw the devil saying, come on, or was that Puffy? I'm effing around, but if that was Puffy at a flaming bottle of Johnson.
And if you need further proof that this industry is darker than we ever imagined, look no further than Jamie Foxx. Jamie told the world that Diddy tried to poison him. Yes, poison. And he's not the only one. Even Joe Rogan brought it up on his show. He said what everyone else was scared to say, that there's a sinister underbelly in Hollywood that's been protected for too long.
P. Diddy, why can't we get anything concrete? All we really have is the hotel hallway beat ass.
That one is in the process. At least,
I don't know.
It's been but hold months. On. He's in jail. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of lawsuits. That one is like, we're going to find out. Yeah. Jamie Foxx just recently said that P. Diddy poisoned him.
What?
And that's why he got that stroke.
I've heard that.
He talked about it on stage.
He said it?
He said it.
He got poisoned?
He said it.
He goes, I didn't have a heart attack because of the vaccine. It was Diddy shutting me up.
See if we can find that, because he said it on stage.
Diddy was poisoning people?
Bro, I think there was some crazy shit going on.
Like Cosby shit? Like drugging?
Diddy wasn't even that big.
I think
it was could do it.
There's alleged murder. There's a bunch of people that got pneumonia, a bunch of convenient people that died of pneumonia. Jamie Foxx addresses whether Diddy was responsible for his 2023 hospitalization while filming Netflix special. Holy shit.
Jamie Foxx has a
Netflix special.
Do they not care about at all stand-up?
Jamie Foxx is hilarious. Audience members, hold on, go back.
I see him at clubs all the time, working out his bits.
What is that share slide?
I only respect grinders.
Look at this. The audience members had varying accounts of the comedian's words. Two of them claimed that Foxx said Diddy was responsible for what happened to him, that he's the one who called the FBI on Diddy, who's currently in prison awaiting trial on sex charges.
Diddy, let's not forget what this case is really about. The plea deal Diddy almost got, he was ready to admit to everything. Sex trafficking, racketeering, forced prostitution, drug crimes, all of it. He was supposed to get a reduced sentence in exchange for testifying against his inner circle. But then it all blew up, the deal didn't go through, and now If Diddy goes down, he's dragging everyone with him. Jay-Z, TD Jakes, Usher, Clive freaking Davis. If any of them are caught on those Seas Miami tapes, their freedom is hanging by a thread.
The last hearing before Sean Combs' trial starts. When he walked into federal court today, he appeared to be looking for his family. They've pretty much been at all of the hearings that I've been to, but there was no presence of his sons or his mother or his sister who had previously been at those hearings. So here's what came out of today's hearing. Number one, the government acknowledged that they offered Combs a plea deal. Combs acknowledged he has no interest in taking that. They're going to move forward with the trial. They also talked about the jury selection process, which one legal expert I spoke to said is probably the most important thing that you want to pay close attention to before the actual trial starts. And thirdly, we learned that Combs will be adding 2 new attorneys to his defense team. And just to recap, Combs, who is 55 years old, could spend the rest of his life behind bars if convicted on sex trafficking and racketeering. He has pleaded not guilty to all charges.
Major developments tonight involving the case against Sean Diddy Combs, what he decided in court today, and what this now means, the move coming just 4 days before his trial is set to begin. Here's Aaron Katursky.
Tonight, Sean Combs makes it official. He's rejecting the government's offer to plead guilty and spare himself the possibility of a prolonged term in prison. When asked if he turned down the offer, Combs answered, "Yes, I do, Your Honor," as he stood in a baggy beige jail uniform. Terms were not disclosed, but prosecutors did say a plea could result in a shorter sentence for Combs than if he's convicted. The decision guarantees Combs will face trial beginning just 4 days from now that will test whether one of music's most prolific figures used his power, wealth, and fame to sexually exploit both women and men for decades. Combs has pleaded not guilty to racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution charges that accused him of coercing alleged victims into prolonged, drug-fueled sexual activity that he called freak-offs and threatening them into silence.
Dawn Richards has also testified against Diddy.
And let's not forget the people who've been brave enough to testify. Dawn Richards told the court how Diddy not only abused her, but beat Cassie in front of her. She described a concert in Central Park where Diddy allegedly punched Cassie in the face with a closed fist.
Richard joined Combs' group Diddy Dirty Money after Danity Kane disbanded. While on the stand, she told jurors that she saw Combs hit Ventura with a skillet full of eggs at his Los Angeles home in 2009. Richard testified per NBC News. He came downstairs asking where his phone was, and he threw her to the ground. He attempted to kick her. She fell to the ground and went into the fetal position, literally trying to hide her head. In addition to striking Ventura with the skillet, Richard said Combs put his arm around the singer's neck and took her upstairs before she heard glass breaking. Richard added, "I was scared for her. I was scared to do anything." Richards' testimony in Combs' ongoing trial comes 8 months after she accused the rapper in a lawsuit of subjecting her to years of inhumane working conditions, which included groping, assault, and false imprisonment. The lawsuit, filed in September, obtained by E! News, stated, Mr. Combs frequently held meetings with Ms. Richard wearing only his underwear, despite Ms. Richards' protests and repeated requests for him to put on clothing. In her filing, the 41-year-old also alleged that Combs ordered her to strip down to her underwear, made demeaning remarks about her body, and entered her dressing room unannounced while she was unclothed, and touched her without her permission under the guise of showing the stylist what to do.
Gene Deal came through with even more shocking details. Diddy allegedly groomed Cassie from the time she was 19. He was almost 40. He controlled her entire world, what she wore, what she ate, who she talked to, even her career. And if she disobeyed, he'd beat her, take her home, cut her off.
If you don't think that dude groomed that young girl, took that impressionable young girl who wanted to be a star, who wanted all her dreams that she had to come true, and fed her drugs, fed her pills, fed her alcohol, and fed her mushrooms and things that she never took before to F her mind up, and then put her in a position that she thought that what little that she had, that she didn't want to lose it. If you didn't think that he did something and did that to her, bruh, I gotta say something wrong with you.
And anyone who tried to help Cassie, they mysteriously vanished. Victim 3, a woman named Gina, was scheduled to testify, but now she's missing, vanished without a trace.
And whenever these trials come about, the closer you get to the trial date, a lot of things start happening to remove people from the case that are going to strengthen the case for the prosecution. And I feel like we're watching that take place now with one of the male sex worker guys who provided tapes to the feds. He's disappeared. And this is similar to what happened in the Tory Lanez case, where the bodyguard whose DNA was on the weapon, he disappeared. So I expect to see a lot of strange things take place. I expect to see the defense team do a lot of steps to lighten the image of Combs, and we've been watching that take place.
From what you know about him, Sean Combs, obviously the perception of him has changed dramatically since these allegations were made and since he got charged. I mean, from everything we're seeing now, he seems a very unpleasant, nasty, violent piece of work. Is that a correct assessment?
The assessment is going to be correct. So what I've learned is whenever you see a gentleman like this from affluence and power, whenever they have an addiction to MDMA or the drug ecstasy, they call it the love drug. So he's been doing this drug for over 20 years. So that's going to lead his view skewed when it comes to sexual activity. I believe it's helped turn him into a sexual deviant.
These stories aren't just disturbing, they're devastating. They expose the rot under Hollywood's golden surface. Behind the red carpets and platinum records lies a nightmare of power, abuse, and silence.
Now, here's Fox. Go ahead, Rob.
What jurors heard today were tales of appalling physical abuse by Sean Combs as prosecutors portrayed him as a monster who controlled people and plied them with drugs, threats, money, brandishing guns during these on-camera sexual performances that he liked to call freak-offs. And in fact, jurors were shown for the first time today that horrifying videotape. Combs brutally beating, kicking, and dragging his then-girlfriend. And then a male escort took the witness stand, and he talked about how he saw firsthand that same young woman repeatedly battered by the defendant, who then tried to bribe a hotel security guard with a stack of cash to get rid of the evidence. In opening statements, what struck me was how the defense attorney openly admitted that her client committed domestic violence, but then tried to argue, well, that's not sex trafficking for which he's charged. Technically, yes, but it is an underlying crime in the racketeering case against him, which includes kidnapping, arson, sex crimes, bribery, obstruction, all part of this alleged criminal enterprise run by Sean Combs. His attorney also admitted to the jury that her client's conduct is, quote unquote, indefensible, and that he may be a sexual deviant, but that doesn't make him a criminal, which strikes me as not a terribly great defense. Are going to be arguing, and they said this to the jury, that the alleged female victims, and there are a lot of them, are all motivated to lie out of greed because they filed lawsuits against Combs for money damages. Well, that is a typical defense tactic, but it is dangerous, it is perilous. Jurors might perceive it as the lawyers re-victimizing the victims. Katie?
Week by week, testimony by testimony, the Diddy trial is peeling back the curtain on a world most of us never wanted to believe was real. Mega pastors, Grammy winners, billionaires, studio heads, and now people are fleeing, scrambling to avoid being dragged into the storm. Is this the beginning of a Hollywood purge? Or just another scapegoat story? Sound off in the comments. Hit like if you're still watching this unfold, and subscribe because this rabbit hole is only getting deeper. So now we've reached a boiling point. What started as whispers around Diddy's wild parties has exploded into a full-on federal takedown. But here's the sickest part. This ain't just about Diddy anymore. This is about an entire system that protected him for decades, that looked the other way while victims cried out in silence, that gave him award after award, contract after contract, knowing full well what was going on behind those mansion gates. Now, the very people who helped build his empire are scrambling like roaches in the light. And the list of who's fled is growing by the hour. Sources say Ben Affleck has reportedly stepped out of the country quietly. No red carpets, no interviews, just gone, disappeared. Why? Nobody's saying for sure, but people are talking. Whispers in the courtroom suggest Affleck attended multiple parties thrown by Diddy back in the early 2010s. Some allegedly involved off-camera events with zero security and no phones allowed. Sound familiar? And get this, there are reports that other celebs have booked international trips last minute, allegedly out of concern for their safety. Others are just trying to put as much distance as possible between themselves and this trial. Because if Diddy's tapes go public, Hollywood's entire foundation might crack. Let's rewind for a moment. How did we get here? It all started with Lil Rod's lawsuit. Yeah, the one nobody took seriously at first. He laid it out plain. Diddy wasn't operating alone. He had a network, a crew of handlers, enablers, and VIP guests who either looked the other way or actively helped clean things up. And slowly, those dominoes started falling. TD Jakes was the first major name to make a move. Then Usher got dragged in with Cassie's story. Then Justin Bieber made headlines by speaking up. Then Kanye West's name was mentioned in jury selection, but the media, they stayed mostly silent. Until now. Now that the feds are moving and the list of missing or fleeing celebrities grows daily, suddenly people are paying attention. Now everyone's asking, what are they so scared of? Look, we've all seen celebrities run from scandals before, but this feels different. This feels like something bigger is bubbling beneath the surface. The kind of panic that comes not from being canceled, but from being caught. And the deeper the trial digs, the more it seems like this wasn't just one bad man doing terrible things. It was a whole system of corruption, and y'all know the system protects its own. Until it doesn't. Remember when Diageo dropped Diddy just 2 months before the trial exploded? Coincidence? Or calculated, because ever since then, his life has fallen apart like a stack of Jenga blocks hit with a baseball bat. And now people who used to party with him, promote him, profit from him, they've gone ghost. Radio silent, international flights booked, lawyers on speed dial. Now back to the tapes. Federal agents raided Diddy's Miami mansion and allegedly seized hard drives and footage. And if what's on them is as dark as insiders claim, then it's not just Diddy who's at risk of going to jail. It's Jay-Z, TD Jakes, Usher, even Clive Davis. Let that sink in. All it takes is one tape to surface publicly, and all of these powerful names could come crashing down. Which might explain why some of them are suddenly taking long vacations in countries with no extradition treaties. Jamie Foxx said he was poisoned by Diddy. Do you realize how wild that is? An A-list Oscar winner nearly killed and nobody followed up? Nobody launched an investigation? That alone tells you just how deep this goes. And if Fox's claims are true, then this isn't just a scandal, it's a war. A war on silence, a war on survival, and a war on truth. The plea deal Diddy tried to sneak through was supposed to protect him and his crew, but once the deal fell apart, Diddy knew he wasn't walking away from this clean. If he's going down, he's not going alone. So now the industry is panicking. If Diddy flips, it's game over. Entire empires could collapse overnight. Cassie's story opened the floodgates, and Don Richard's chilling testimony added fuel to the fire. The details about Diddy beating Cassie with his fist in public. That kind of violence doesn't just happen. It's learned, it's enabled, and it's covered up for years. Then Gene Deal came through with the timeline, showing exactly how Diddy groomed and controlled Cassie since she was barely out of her teens. And the public, we're sitting here asking, how did we let this go on for so long? Now Gina, victim 3, is missing. She was supposed to testify. She was ready. And then vanished. No warning, no explanation, just gone. People are scared. People are silent, but the truth, it's louder than ever. This is not just some Hollywood drama. It's not just a scandal to gossip about. It's a reckoning. Behind all the Grammys and magazine covers is a system that eats people alive and spits them out when they're no longer useful. And now that the cameras are rolling and the feds are watching, the predators are finally being exposed. So we ask again, what happens next? Will this trial finally tear down the golden curtains of Hollywood and show the world what's really been going on? Or will this all get buried again? Covered in hush money and silence? We're watching history unfold. The trial of the decade has turned into the unraveling of an entire culture. Let us know what you think. Because one thing is clear, this ain't over. It's only just begun.